Hello, Farlanders. My name is Kurt. Welcome back to Farlands or Bust. This is episode 829 and the first of season 10 of Farlands or Bust. How about that? I just got done. We're recording this live for Twitch. With Twitch on Thursday, but this episode's going to come out on Saturday, May 28th, 2022. There's Wolfie. There's Wolfie. And there's Wolfie. And there's some sheep. Welcome to Season 10 of Minecraft Farlands or Bust here in Minecraft Beta 173. Oh, look at this guy. We found season. Oh, he's gone. He died. What happened to him? Is he dead? Did he fall or did he just despawn? Well, our short-lived mascot for season 10. What the heck was that? I think he just despawned. He was a vision. Perhaps that is the ghost that shall follow us this season. A mirage. If he fell and died, there would have at least been like a block of wool or something, right? I mean, maybe he fell on the nose. That's a little bit on the nose. I was just done talking to chat about how yes, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. Enterprise. It's been a long time. It's been almost 2 months since the finale and monument build for season 9. The 5765878 monument, that is. Yeah, March 28th. I did this on purpose. This is what I was saying. I kept waiting for, like, a special date in Farlands or Bust history. Or, like, when we found Wolfie. Or, like, June 5th is, like, when we first started calling it Farlands or Bust in 2011. But what if the special date is May 28th, 2022, when we start Season 10 of Farlands or Bust? We make our own special dates. But now I'm backtracking and say, I decided to release this episode exactly 2 months after we pressed F3 on Season 9, in Season 9. That is exactly the plan that I have stuck to, and I had in my mind and written down this entire time. I am a genius. I am a fantastic planner, and I am very adherent to schedules and importance of dates and times. But yeah, we're just gonna go for it. I got no special plans. I got all the wrong inventory though. I definitely need a day here to like commiserate and also get my life in order. So what do I need? That's all the stuff I need. I don't need any of this. I'll take the wool. I'll take the water bucket. I'll take that wool. Don't necessarily need that cobblestone. The purple wool is interesting, but unnecessary. Maybe we'll feed a golden apple to Wolfie. Like, if that is even a thing. We need our compass. I guess we have some diamonds and iron and more wool. Gold. What do we need gold for? I don't think we need gold. Do we need gold for anything? I don't think we need gold. We're going to cosplay as B.A. Baracus. Mr. T. I mean, like I said, the purple wool is interesting. I mean, we could just, like, make a couple beds right now out of this interesting wool and de-interesting-ify it. Purple bed. May you sleep on interesting beds. Whoa, that doesn't sound right. Let's help out the chicken population, I guess. But yes, hello. Oh, we got nothing. Take one last look at your Season 9 monument. I might have to agree that this is probably my favorite monument as well. Others were definitely bigger, more complex. They had continually playing musical notes inside and lava, and one of them does have the diamond sword of spawn pointiness, but this one's got some real character. Got some real character to it, doesn't it? But we do need to keep heading west. So yeah, I don't it's season 10. I mean, I made a new logo. Did you notice the new logo? I really hope that I made a new logo for the overlay when I say Farlands are bust at the beginning. We got a new logo. Don't worry, I spent a lot more time on that logo than I did on the first logo that we had been using for 11 years. Even though it doesn't look like it. That's the sign of good graphic design. Making it look like you didn't put any effort into it. Yeah, we don't have a charity yet. If you're wondering what we're raising money for, nothing right now. We did the same thing season 9, I think even season 8 too, where we just like started just because if I needed to then plan and figure out and find and research and set up a new charity, we would have to wait till June 28th. Yeah, and a couple new things to talk about as well. Same Wolfie though. Same Wolfie. I'm kind of sad that sheep isn't up there anymore, but I'm also very glad that happened. However it happened. Whatever happened, it happened for a reason. What should we make with these diamonds? I mean, at the end of the last season, season 8, we had a bunch of diamonds and just made a solid diamond block that we left at the F3 monument point. I don't know if that's what I want to do here, but I mean, I can't. A hat. I could make a diamond hat. I could make a golden hat. Alternately. I don't need armor, though, is the problem. I'm just really paranoid and trying to make sure I'm not leaving anything important behind. A pick and a sword. Do we really? Would we really want to have a new diamond sword of season 10-ness? Season tetanus? Can you get tetanus from a diamond sword? 5 jukeboxes. I guess we did that too. We we put diamonds. We very usefully created jukeboxes and note blocks with diamonds. Season Tetris, yes. Indeed. Well, I'm gonna sleep in this hidey hole for one night since we dilly-dallied. Do I need the gold? I keep encumbering myself. Overly so. And I don't know why. I will never need gold. I could make a golden tooth for Wolfie. No. Farewell to the depths on which we got this stuff. Ooh, there's a picture for you. There's a screenshot. There's a title screen. Thumbnail, even. Clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. So yeah, we're gonna go to sleep for one night here, and then we're gonna continue on. No more dilly-dallying. Although I do need a shovel and an axe. Maybe I should build those things before I go. I do have a lot of iron. I think that's probably the best thing to do before we go to sleep. I can make a diamond axe and shovel. No, that's preposterous. Preposterous, I say. Let's go to sleep and preposter in the morning. And awakeness. And finally, continuing to the west. Is there... I feel like I see kind of pixelization there. So there is an image, like we are seeing the image, it's not flat black. But it's very close to being, you know, it's like one of the, when you like start playing a new video game and it's like move the slider, so the first image is barely visible. It's very barely visible. Weird. I mean, that's a new science thing we learned last season. All right. So long, deluxe hidey hole. Sheep? No. So long, Wolfie Monument of 5765878. I memorized that. Totally didn't just read that off my notepad. And west, we shall continue towards the Farlands in Minecraft Beta 173. Indeed. Indeed. Shall I get one more foggy visage on the horizon of the Wolfie? Was that the right use of that word? Oh, and he's gone. Can't see the whole thing. Indeed. It's gone. Never to return. We spent all that time, right, Wolfie? Wolfie probably wanted to stay. But we are continuing on. Like I said, new logo, no new charity. I have made a change to where I am hosting the podcast. Now, the podcast version was launched thanks to Patreon members. We have since, unfortunately, not put so much emphasis on Patreon since then, and have fallen below that threshold for the podcast. But I'll still continue doing the podcast version. Wow, that was loud. Those are some loud bovines. But because of that, I am switching from Podbean, which I've had to pay for yearly, to a free solution on Acast. So I'll put the new link in the description below. Unfortunately, all previous episodes here on YouTube probably and will continue to link to the Podbean version, and eventually those links are going to die. Right now I have the podcast feed redirecting to the new host. Also, this will be the first episode I'll be uploading to the new host, so I'm hoping I like it and it works. Otherwise, if I don't like it and it doesn't work, then we'll revert back. So I'm not deleting everything off Podbean just yet. But if you follow the podcast, I mean, if you're listening to this episode through the podcast, then you've done a good job. You've noticed nothing. You've ended up continuing to get the podcast, so that's neither here nor there. But if you're like following through iTunes or wherever else, Spotify, you get your podcasts. Those should remain unchanged and should get the new episodes just the same, because it's just through the RSS feed. But I figured that was worth mentioning, in case anybody comes here after being like, why am I not getting any new podcasts? Maybe, I don't know, there must be a few people who, like, have accounts through Podbean, because, like, I've noticed people leave comments and, like, put thumbs ups or likes in the Podbean system. So hopefully I'm not stranding those people, but yeah, thought that'd be worth a mention. And as far as Patreon goes, I do appreciate everybody who has remained patrons. That is still a very important part of me being able to continue to do this series and things like the podcast and everything, really. Streaming, feeding myself, you know, day-to-day stuff. So I very much appreciate my patrons, and I don't know what to do with you. I very much appreciate that you've hung around and you continue to support in a very helpful way. Perhaps one of those ways has been enabling. Can you notice? Can you see? Maybe that black sheep was Raymond in the flesh. We saw a brief glimpse of Raymond and his finest traces. If you've not been watching the streams over on Twitch, we've upgraded our graphics card. Ooh. No longer are we stuck in the world of with only three-digit graphics cards. The GTX 970. Now we're into the thousands, into the RTXs, the lowest of the RTXs. That's lava. Let's not die on the first episode of Season 10. How about that? How about we make that a goal? That's the special thing I'm doing for this episode. But yeah, we got an RTX 3050. Ooh, spared every expense. Prices dropped enough where it seemed necessary to hold us over until who knows what's next. Bit of a late adopter, but yeah, that happened well over a month ago, and it's been working fine. Barely any more. No more encoding overloaded situations. Wreckfest. When Wreckfest is loading a new map, that really twists the noodle on my computer. But yeah, look at all the Raymond traces. The DLSS scaling. That doesn't have any of that in this version of Minecraft. There's literally and figuratively no change to how Minecraft do. But yeah, that's fun, and that's thanks to everybody, patrons, Twitch subscribers, and gift subscribers, and bit givers, and hello freshies, hello freshmen. Those of you who taken advantage of some of the sponsored activities I've been taking part of. The bun pan. I cannot forget about the bun pan, and a new camera, and a window washer, and a cat toy coming from my wish list. That's very appreciated. So yes, I feel like we need to pivot, if you will. Ease on the complaining about what's happening with the internet and the world and the platforms we choose, and instead show gratitude for those who remain with us and continue on the journey with us, who have donated. I mean, we've raised over $468,000 in the 11 plus years we've been doing Farlands or Bust. So I appreciate everybody who's done that. And yeah, and yeah, I don't have a new charity just yet. Maybe we'll just put our heads up and continue west here for a while to the Farlands before we add more complexity, re-add more complexity. Trying to just take it simple. When did I introduce? Was that like season 5? The stress-free Farlands or Bust? It's taken us another 5 seasons before we actually start to maybe get to that goal, perhaps. Indeed. Indeed. Let's find a clearing here. Make the first elevated hidey hole of Season 10. Oh, that means I gotta make a whole new playlist on YouTube? Dang it. Will they even allow that? I know they've kind of... That lasted all of 14 seconds. Not complaining about the platforms. I don't even... Like, they're definitely, like, de-emphasizing playlists on YouTube, so hopefully we can still make a new one for Season 10. I think so. Probably. Who knows? We'll find out. In the morning... And a playlistness. Indeed. Speaking of playlists, if you check back in the Season 9 playlist to episode 819, an episode called Cheesecake Withdrawal, I go on and on, make a whole episode almost about mental health, my mental health, and the anxiety and depression drugs that I was on, about how I made a decision to come off of them. This was like last July, I believe. Going on and on about that decision, how I thought it was best at the time. Turns out it really wasn't. I think I fell for a common foible. A common mental health foible in that... This medication doesn't seem to be doing anything. And/or, I don't need this medication. I seem to be fine. And/or, I feel very numb from this medication. In that the solution isn't to come off the medication, but it perhaps is to change and/or increase the medication. So yeah. I came off my medication last summer, and then, you know, to like figure out what the baseline is. What's my baseline? Where am I actually at without this? It's not good. It turns out it's not good. I know, like we talked a lot throughout the Flobathon. We talked a lot throughout Flobathon about how I was doing, how everybody's doing, really, honestly, but specifically me, because I'm the one with the microphone in front of my face. Wasn't great, not great. So I did finally, I mean, another issue is finding a doctor. I changed my insurance last year, which might have also been a mistake. Then I gotta find a whole new doctor. Finding new doctors is impossible right now. So I made an appointment in February and finally got it in May. Went to the doctor in hopes that at the same place they have mental health physicians for counseling and medication management. Turns out they don't anymore. In the time I set up the appointment to the time I have the appointment, they don't anymore. I'm on a bunch of other wait lists to see about getting in with like actual mental health experts. So saw a regular doctor. He's like, well, we could do a normal checkup right now, or we can, like, what's more important to you? Do the medication thing. So I'm back on a medication. We'll do the normal checkup later. And yeah, I just started that last week. Like, it usually doesn't take like 3 or 4 or 5 weeks before it like actually starts to work, but it could be placebo effect. I'm also like on the lowest dose. But probably just the fact that things are moving instead of being like, well, it's February. I have to wait until I have this appointment in May before I can like even consider any progress being made. So perhaps that's the positive thing there, but getting back on that. There's nothing, definitely no stigma or anything wrong with that. I don't think anybody in the audience thinks that anymore. But yeah, another the interesting story out of the doctor's office. They're like, well, since we'll reschedule you, we'll get you this prescription. We'll reschedule you for like just an actual like physical or whatever. But we might as well do a blood test. You know, do some lab screenings for stuff for cholesterol and diabetes. And going into the doctor's office, I didn't anticipate this being a thing I would have to do. We've been told normally that you gotta like have like 8 to 12 hours of fasting before you get these blood tests. Am I right? Apparently that was incorrect. I even looked this up online afterwards. Apparently doctors are like, oh, I guess it doesn't matter. We discovered after all these years that really doesn't matter. So you don't really need to do that. So right after the appointment, they swung around to the lab to get my blood drawn, which is not a big deal. I've had my blood drawn and those lab tests done multiple times, but this time was different because I think I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't ready. I had also just spent the last hour or so sitting in a old doctor's office waiting to get examined and stuff. They took my blood, and then right after they took my blood, started to get woozy. Which has never happened before in my life. And it was, I think, a combination of that, the not expecting it, and also this lady was a little shaky. Not shaky, but like she was chatty and talking as she was taking my blood. And it wasn't a problem, like a lot of people, apparently, like people have problems like, oh, my veins are hard to find. That's not a problem. Found it right away. Plugged right in, just fine. But while, like, she was taking the blood, she was, like, talking and chatting and kind of jostling around, and it just started to feel real weird in the old vein place. Sorry, by the way, if this is icky or gross or triggering for anybody. Content warning. Blood. Blood happening. It just started to feel weird. It just started to feel weird. Like a... I don't know. It just felt weird. I was getting little zings. Don't jostle my veins, please. They're very delicate. He made me bleed my own blood. So yeah, that was weird. And then when she took the syringe or whatever out, and they're like, okay, hold on to this gauze real quick. And I like, because it felt weird, I felt that heat in the back of your neck, and like just kind of a little bit of tunnel vision. I had to be like, you know, she came back and was going to start bandaging my arm, and I'm like, you know, I'm feeling a little dizzy. And then that's when stuff got weird. It's as if like a protocol had been enabled where she's like, oh, let me call in a nurse. And she did that, and she told me to put my head down, like heads up, 7 up. I said the magic words, and So I put my head down all awkwardly in that like high chair that they make you sit in, which makes sense now. I never understood why like you're in a high chair and they have that little thing that comes down over your lap. It's so if you do faint, you don't like fall out like a sack of potatoes onto the ground. I put my head down, and then like a nurse came in, a really big guy came in. I'm assuming they have the big nurse there, the big guy nurse there to collect the sack of potatoes when they fall on the ground. A third nurse was in there, and I'm like, so now not only am I like feeling weird and embarrassed from almost fainting, but now I went in there for anti-anxiety medication. Now I'm surrounded by complete strangers who are watching me have this episode. Worst episode ever. They brought me a little tiny box of apple juice. I don't remember the last time I drank apple juice in my life. It's been dozens of years, maybe. I don't know. It's been a long time. That's our new theme song. So yeah. Eventually, it took 10 or 15 minutes. Eventually, I came around. And they were all just like chatting and like poking fun at the nurse. Oh, she got another one. And I kept saying, this has never happened before. And she's like, oh, you know, like, I don't know if she was actually upset or feigning upsetness about causing this distress. But yeah, that was a fun story that I definitely am like, well, gotta share that. And they're like, do you have anybody who could drive you home? Because I drove myself there. I'm like, well, the girlfriend is in school all day. I really wouldn't be able to find anybody for a bit. But I came around. I regained my faculties. And all was well. And I got my medication. But gosh, I did not wet myself. Did not. Although the last time, like the time previous to this, like a few years ago, when I got like the full 120 point inspection at a doctor's, at the lab, you have to give like, you know, a urine sample. I couldn't. Like the one time I don't have to pee is when like they want me to. And so like that was another that story I omitted a couple years ago. Let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. And awakeness. And a vein jostler. Old vein jostle. Indeed. So that was my excitement last week. How is everybody else doing? Oh, where's my compass? Compass for a bumpus. Oh boy. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I am very open about this stuff, the mental health stuff, not being able to pee when asked. But the yeah, I don't know how much I'm gonna keep you up into. I do want to avoid. I was on, for those wondering, I guess I was on Effexor primarily for a while. Didn't quite like the side effects. So then I reduced it and went on this thing called Boost Bar. And then I came off both of them. But now I'm back on the Boost because I knew that kind of did good things, but didn't have the side effects. So I don't know, that the doctor was like, well, this is kind of more of like a helper medication to like an actual like medication, like a SSRI or whatever. So I don't know. I'm hoping to get in again with more than just a regular doctor to have like actual advice and evaluation as to what would work best. So yeah, I don't know if anybody else is up to sharing what works for them, what hasn't for them. That's totally up to you, and I appreciate it. It's difficult to navigate. It's very difficult to navigate. Especially with the system that we have. The for-profit system of health care that we have, and overall lack of actual care that happens because of it, which is no fault of the doctors and things. Usually it's just system. Indeed. How about for season 10 we bring back an old chestnut of space news. You were confused there. You thought that was going to be Minecraft news because that was the Minecraft news intro music, but I didn't remember what the space news intro music was. Space news, hot off the presses. There is a possibility on the night of May 30th or 30th and May 31st of a meteor storm for North America. A meteor storm out of the Tau Herculids. Or it could be nothing. There's the possibility of something amazing or nothing at all. But yeah, I just saw that there was a comet 73P. How's that for a transition? 73P was a periodic comet that did cause some meteor showers over the years and decades. But in 1995, the comet broke up. It fell apart. It spontaneously not combusted, but it broke apart and caused a much wider, bigger field of debris. And space weather forecasters believe that this May 30th, the Earth will pass through a large chunk of that debris from the breakup. And there could be upwards of 1,000 meteors per hour. Or 0. For reference, like the big, regular, normal, like Perseid meteor showers, those are usually about like 60 meteors per hour. Those are like regular showers. A meteor storm is in the thousands. Now, it could be thousands, but those could all be very tiny, tiny little faint meteors that you can't see if you're within 200 miles of a major city because of the light pollution. But yeah, I just saw that and I'm like, huh, I don't think we'll have clear skies. We certainly didn't have clear skies for the lunar eclipse around the Seattle area here. But maybe around local midnight, the night of May 30th into the morning of the 31st, if you do have clear skies, if you're in North America or Canada or Mexico or United States or anywhere on this hemisphere, a very spooky meteor storm might transpire. Or it might not. Or nothing at all. Nothing at all could happen. That's always worth saying. It's not like an eclipse where it's like, you know this is going to happen. It's just whether or not there's clouds, you're going to see it. This is very difficult to predict because we really don't have eyes on the debris field from this comet breaking up. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I thought that was worth mentioning, in case anybody wasn't. I certainly wasn't, wise to it. I don't know why or how I even found it. I think it was by somebody on Twitter twattered it. Something like that. So yeah, mark your calendars for literally a few days from now. Indeed. So, what else is new? Day 3 of Season 10 of Farlands or Bust, and we have once again run out of things to talk about. I do know that, I mean, we talk about this on Ran When Parked, but like, used cars are very expensive right now, but that also means that the cars that we use are worth more than they historically have been. Obviously ZK has sold a few of his cars through like those online services. So that's something that's been on my mind. I still have the Crosstrek. I've had it since new in 2015. It's got about 70,000 miles on it. But I've really also been thinking a lot about electric cars. And it's not even like a money thing. Like, yes, gas is very expensive right now. But more just like, I drive about 20 miles every day. Really, just to walk Juneau is my daily drive. Sometimes to the grocery store or whatever. I really could get by with an electric car with a low range. I mean, ideally, I do personally like the idea and the look and the reviews about that Hyundai Ioniq 5. I think that is a right thing with a electric car to be happening. Both in like, it's actually interesting to look at. It's an interesting design. Like, unfortunately, new cars are out of the question. Let me just say that a new car for me is out of the question. Definitely a new electric car. You can't buy them. You just can't buy them. You just can't buy them. They're just not around. They get gobbled up. Like even the new Subaru / Toyota electric car, it's spoken for the next 2 years. Can't get on any wait lists or nothing. But like, you could buy a used Nissan Leaf for like $9,000, and that's much less than I could sell Crosstrek for. And that has like a range of 90 miles. Well more than enough than I need for my daily life. And I think, I mean, we definitely, I mean, I get, but I don't get why there are still so many people holding out on the idea. Because all of the excuses are no longer like valid. Like, I can see why you don't want a Tesla. Like, I don't want a Tesla. They're all musky. But let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. And awakeness. And continuing on this. But yeah, like the range isn't a problem. Range isn't a problem for 99% of people. People, I think, are very hung up on, and I was for a while hung up on the fact that we go to gas stations to fill up our cars with gasoline. So it's hard for us to divorce that act from driving. So when people are like, I can't wait 90 minutes to charge my car. Well, no, because you're never going to need to use one of those parking lot charges. How often would you have to go to a gas station if automatically every time you parked your car in your garage overnight, it got a full tank of gas? And for the majority of people, that's never. You would never have to stop at a gas station if every night your car was magically full of gas. And that's the same thing with electric cars. You plug it in, and then it's full of gas in the morning. And yeah, I think there are a lot of these YouTubers and Top Gears doing all these, like, let's do a cross-country road trip in an electric car. I think that harms the narrative more than anything. Because that's not what they're for. That's not where we're at. The majority... Well, I forgot what the statistic was, but the majority of trips, like 90% in America of drives in cars are like 5 miles or less. So, yeah, I mean, right now I think it's just availability that is an issue. But that's been on my mind a lot. I'm like, probably too much. Probably something that I... my hyperfixations on certain problems over my other day-to-day needs and requirements are not warranted. I mean, I like the Crosstrek. It gets okay mileage. But again, like, the money isn't... I just looked up because I'm crazy. I keep a record of these things. Since 2005... Oh, I have to look it up again now. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. We'll keep talking through this. We won't even edit this. I can give you the true figures here. Since 2005, when I began keeping records on my computer, I've spent just over $15,000 on gasoline. Since 2005. So buying an electric car is not going to pay for itself in gas savings. For me. Ever. Just because I haven't spent that much in gas in the last 20 years. So that's not an issue. I think the thing is like, oh, if to offset the emissions of building a new electric car versus driving a gas car, I think the offset is like 3 years or so, depending on how much you drive. So if you're driving an electric car for 3 years, simply doing that offsets the amount of CO2 emissions that you would have rather otherwise spent with a combustion car. I know I'm not thinking of a Leaf. They are ugly. They're ugly as hell, but it's more than enough. It is tough though. I mean, we do have... I mean, honestly, I would get a Leaf and then the girlfriend should drive it. is really what would happen. Look at this place. 'Cause she drives maybe 30 miles a day to and from school. So we would do that, and then I would benefit none from it. Honestly, if we did that, we would get rid of her car, because it's newer, but it's got a lot more miles, and neither of us really like it that much anymore. But then, like, she still wants / has a need for a small pickup truck for what she is going to school for hauling things, for camping in. So yeah, I'm thinking too much about it. Or we could just stay with what we currently have and not hassle our brains and like have to do a bunch of calculations about, is it worth it? Do we have to worry about older cars and less safety, etc., etc., etc. That's my brain about a lot of things. That's my brain about a lot of things, my friends. Should I start Farlands or bust? But I don't have anything special planned. What am I going to do with all these golden apples? I got to do something special before I leave the Wolfie Monument. It's the last time we're ever going to see it. I got to pick a date. That means something in Farlands or bust history, you know? So yeah, it's a real pickle. But it's not, also, at the same time. We're doing fine, as we are. Don't worry, says the man who has counted every gas purchase from 2005. My computer does it for me. I mean, I input all of them individually, manually, because I don't connect any of my bank or credit cards to the application because I don't care to leave that security hole open. But it was convenient to have, wasn't it? In this specific time. In this specific time where people might be making the argument that I'll save more money to pay for the car than I will spend on gas, I say false. I mean, despite the fact that I'm arguing for the same thing that perhaps they're arguing. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. I do that. I do calculate my mileage when I fill up on gas. Only because the onboard like mile per gallon thing is never right. It's always very generous. It always says like I'm getting 29 or something miles per gallon when it's really more like 27. I mean, I mean, one of the things I could and should do is put like street tires back on it instead of these off-road tires that I have. Not really going off the roads as much as I expected. That would get me back up into the 31 mile per gallon range. Careful, Wolfie. Dang it. QuickBooks? No, no. No, no. Much worse than that, my friend. Microsoft Money. Microsoft Money. Much like Microsoft Ice, a piece of software that was discontinued well before even Windows 7 came out. You can still get it. There's still a version for it that you can download and use. I mean, and that's the only reason why I have records back to 2005, is because I initially had it installed in Windows XP. Kurt, please. Listen, I just upgraded my graphics card. I am a new and happening technology enthusiast. This is not the conversation or the focus of this topic that I wanted it to be. I fainted when they took my blood. Oh man, I miss Farlands or Bust. This is important data to have. Now I can like look up like how much I've spent on like internet or Minecraft servers that we're not using anymore on Patreon and continue to pay for, or podcast hosting when there are free options available. I was in such disbelief when I fainted last blood. Did you like fully faint? Like not lights out? Down for the count? I've never like fully fainted. That I know of. Like, for anything. For dizziness, for hitting my head too hard on something, for... being shocked. That's neat and interesting. I guess we could have that as something to look at the start of the next episode. Indeed. Hey, Wolfie, why don't you come up here? There you go. Oh, gee, okay. No, you know, this is all bad news. Oh, God. Now I've done it. Wolfie. Just, would you get over here, please? And have a seat, for safety's sake? He says, meters away from flowing liquid hot lava. Let's dig in. We remember how to do this. Back to your bog standard 3x3x3 hidey hole. No more of these deluxe furnishings with fine art hanging from the wall. We do have spooky noises, though. That's a feature. Indeed. Season 10 of Farlands or Bust. So yeah. Thank you very much for watching. And again, thank you everybody who continues to watch and has kept up with the series. Anybody new who stopped by, subscribe. I mean, if you got a thing for bells, you can hit that bell, I guess. I don't know what it does, to be honest with you, but we can find out together. My patrons, my Twitch subs, charity donors, wish list gifters, and hello freshers. What am I gonna do with these diamonds? Why did I bring this gold? Over encumbered, I say. Over encumbered. We started. That's the hardest part, is starting. So thank you very much for tuning in. Like I said, maybe the next thing we do will be a stream. Who knows? Maybe it'll be another episode. We're keeping it loose and crazy and kooky and unexpected here in Farlands or Bust. My name is Kurt. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time. What am I going to do with all these golden apples?